everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am ever so sorry. I was running a bit late today. And yeah, I was running a bit late. But here I am today. Now, I know that I have a good number of international viewers. And I'm not sure, 100% sure, but I think you might be aware that today we got our first uh, Prime Minister of colour. And as I said, I think that's a great thing. I think it's an historic thing. I think that it's unfortunate that it's a Tory. But I think it's unfortunate that the first British Prime Minister to be a person of colour is a Tory. For for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm kind of a centrist, slightly left of centre, so I would really have preferred it to be someone espousing views at least somewhat similar to mine. That would have been nice. And also, often those who are people of colour on the right, their views can be even more extreme than your average right winger who's not a person of colour. And they can get away with saying and doing things that, white politicians can't really get away with saying and doing. At least that's been what I viewed so far. But on to Rishi Sunak. Now, I predicted about a year ago, I believe it was October last year, on the channel of Ms. Tracy Brown. And I'm not sure, it could have been the first one I did called The British Invasion, or it could have been the second one, but I think it might have been the first one I did on that channel. That Rishi Sunak would become Prime Minister. At the time, thank you, Paula. Thank you so much for joining me, Paula. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for making time, especially considering I've been late. But yeah, at the time, we were doing a reading on Boris, and we were doing a reading to see when Boris was going, if he would go, etc., etc. And I got the Page of Pentacles. And I looked at this Page of Pentacles, and I think I actually expressed some shock. I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is Rishi Sunak. And I was surprised because, one, I had not expected to see the future Prime Minister in the reading. That was number one. And number two, I hadn't expected to know who that would be. So when I saw him come up, I was like, hold on a second. I think I know who this is. And that's how, and I said what I said. Now, technically speaking, and I haven't looked at the video, but I think I may have actually said that Rishi was going to be the next Prime Minister. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely said he would be the first Prime Minister of colour. Now, what I will say to that is, even though I said he would be the next Prime Minister and we had Lettuce Liz in the mix, if you think about it, Liz Truss was technically Prime Minister for 44 days before she resigned. Even though she's still Prime Minister now, I'm not sure if we can technically think of her as Prime Minister, because obviously Rishi's coming in tomorrow. But I'm not sure if we can consider the time between the time she resigned to now as really Prime Minister, because she can't push any legislation through Parliament. And if you consider that although she was technically Prime Minister for 44 days before she resigned, within that 44-day period, the Queen died. So we had 10 days of mourning, which only gave her 34 days to push through legislation. Also consider, and this is for my international viewers, that we also had party conference season. Party conference season lasts about 14 days. So if you take 10 off 44, that gives you 34. If you take another 14 off that, that gives you 20 days. So she was basically Prime Minister for 20 days. And if we recall, the leadership hustings that we had this summer lasted 6 weeks. So she was Prime Minister for only half the amount of time it took her to complete the job interview. And what a Prime Minister she was. I mean, really. There are caretaker Prime Ministers who serve for longer. So when I said I see him as, if I said, because I'm not 100% sure, if I said I see him as the next Prime Minister, although not technically accurate, it's kind of accurate, because he's going to have from now at least until the end of the year to push through legislation. So one of the things, oh, hi, Tracy. Oh, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much. I am so sorry I've been so late today. I do apologize. Often when I do this, I don't tend to schedule it. And so timing is definitely something I'm going to have to work on. But I'd like to thank both you and Paula for joining me. And yeah, it's great. So today I want to look at what can we expect from Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the first Prime Minister of the UK to be a person of colour. Let's have a look-see. Okay, now I am not the most organised person. I'm doing everything myself. I barely know how to turn on my tablet and use StreamYard. Yeah, sometimes I get in a bit of a kerfuffle. Yeah, so my phone has things that I don't know how to work, and although technically speaking I have Instagram. Oh, thank you, Marie, darling, Marie, long time no see. Oh my gosh, musings by Monifa. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate it. Yes, so as I was saying, although I'm technically on Instagram, technically I don't even know how to use it properly. I only know how to use Instagram. I'm so rubbish at all this social media stuff. Oh dear. If you want me to make you a document or something, or write you a news, I can do that. I don't know how to use shapes. I think I can insert pictures, but that's pretty much it. I'm an old lady, so you know, it is what it is. And yes, you're gonna say I don't look as old, that old. Trust me, this is genetics, but my knees say otherwise. Anyway, let's crack on. So let's have a look and see what is happening with Mr. Sunak. What can we expect from his premiership? Now, today I'm going to be using the Game of Thrones tarot, which I love using this tarot deck for political readings. It gives so much. And also, I'm going to use, let's see, I think I'm going to use some archetype cards to get a feel for what the energy of his premiership is going to be. Now, one of the things I am curious about, because the energy has changed, is there going to be an election? I'm curious. Personally, I've got a funny feeling he's going to try and drag it out for as long as possible. However, I'll let the cards show me what they want to show me. So we'll crack on with that. Now, let's have a look-see. The archetype cards, I'm going to get those out and I'm going to say my prayers and ask for guidance. Because it always goes better when I say my prayers and ask for guidance. I really do feel held by my spiritual squad. That's what I call them, my spiritual squad. Let's see. Now, normally for healing, I would go for the Oracle of the Seven Energies. On the other hand, I think this calls for Sacred Destiny Oracle instead. It's a bit more direct and straight to the point. So let me go do that. Let's do that then. Okay, and because I'm me, I'm gonna select my Rebel deck. I love my Rebel deck because, you know, I am. So let's get this party started, baby. Now let's see who is joining us. Oh, yes. Lovely. I'm so glad my peeps are in the house. That's fantastic. Okay, now let's see. Let us see what we can see. Right, first things first, let me bless the deck and ask for guidance. Okay. Mother, Father, God in heaven, please give me guidance today to show and to say the things that you would like me to say. Please lift my spirit and my understanding to convey what you wish the people to know today. We are talking about the UK and we are talking about our new Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. Please give me an idea of what we can expect from Mr. Sunak today. Well, I mean, for his premiership. A shout out to Mr. Sunak and all the Hindus watching. Happy Diwali. I know this is your season of lights. May you be guided and kept and held by your deities. Jesus, please guide me and please not only allow me to see the truth, but to also be compassionate with my delivery. Amen, amen, amen. Okay, right, let's get shuffling. So, what I like to do whenever I do a reading on people, it depends on the situation because I like to switch it up. I switch it up a lot. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do before I actually do it anyway. But what I tend to often do is I like to get an idea of the energies that we are dealing with in regards to the subject matter. Now, sometimes the subject matter could be you. Let's say if you wanted a reading and you said to me, oh, I want to know what to expect at my new job, or I'd like to know something about like my family situation. I've been having issues. So, what I will do in those situations and in some others is I will try and get an energy reading. And I find that the archetype cards by Caroline Miss are very, very good for picking up energies. So, I would like to know what other energies we can expect with Mr. Sunak's premiership. Okay, I'm just spreading the cards out here and I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go for that one. I'm going to go for that one. Okay, so I've taken 3 cards. 3 cards often gives me a great overview onto what the running themes are. Some people can read it as past, present, future, but I find it gives me a much better overview so I can pick up on the energetic forces and it gives good guidance that way. So, those there. Right. Next up, the Rebel deck. The Rebel deck. Quick and dirty. Okay, I'm just shuffling these cards. Okay, what can we expect from Rishi Sunak's premiership? What can we expect from Rishi Sunak's premiership? Oh dear, I'm really crap at shuffling cards, I have to say. I'm kind of rubbish at it. I don't know if it's that the cards don't get, I don't know. It's probably my hands or something. Anyway, first things first. So 1, 2, and I'm going to go for that one, 3. Okay, now with these cards, I like to lay them underneath the archetype cards because they often directly correlate, I've noticed. Okay, so there's that. Now, I'm going to do my tarot cards here, and this could take a little while, so please bear with me. Okay, what can we expect from Rishi Sunak's premiership? What can we expect from Rishi Sunak's premiership? What can we expect from Rishi Sunak's premiership? Oops, there. I've got cards falling out all over the place. Let's see. Okay. Sure, they're falling out for a very good reason. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit wants me to do some reversals. I would not be surprised. I don't normally read reversals, but it might actually be a case of there being some reversals. So that might be the reason why I dropped some of the cards. All right. Rishi Sunak's premiership. Oh, this card wants to jump out. Ooh. Okay, then. The first card. Oh, goodness gracious me. The first card has popped out, and I think that is relevant. I don't know if they want me to do some more reversals because this is crazy. I don't normally drop the cards this often. But anyway, I digress. Rishi Sunak's premiership. Okay, I am going to cut the cards there. Right, let's see. All right, that one's the first one. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know, I'm taking from the bottom as well. 7, 8, 9, 10. Sometimes I will take from the bottom. I don't know why. I just do. I don't know. I just do what spirit tells me to do. So here we go. So there's that. And the last ones, because you know, I'm special. Anyway, the last ones I will do, because I really want to drill down into this and find out about. Oh, hello, darling. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Brandy. Oh, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you. Right, let me just kind of drill down and find the day. All right, then. How many cards am I going to take with this one? Let's see. Oh, no. I've taken 3 of those ones. I took 3 of those ones. I don't know, man. 3, 3. I might just have to take 3. Okay. I'm going to take this card because it seems to want me to. So that's that card. And then I am going to spread these ones out a bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to take that one. Oh. I'm going to take that one. Okay, so I have the cards. Let's see how quickly I can get this done. Hopefully I would have developed, well, anyway, we'll see what happens. Let's go. Ooh, right then. Right then. What are the energies that we are dealing with here? That's interesting. What are the energies that we are dealing with here? Okay. The energy of his premiership. The first card up here is teacher. That's the first card up. The light attribute, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. The shadow attributes are manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. That's interesting. Let's see what the theme is here then. The second card, which is interesting as well, hedonist. I have a feeling I know where this is going. Hedonist. The light attributes of hedonist inspires creative energy to embrace the good things in life, celebrates the beauty in yourself. The shadow attributes pursues pleasure to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. As I said, I have a strange feeling I know where this is going. Ooh, and the last card is guide. That's the last card. It says here, light attributes of guide represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. Okay. The shadow attribute of this is places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. Okay. Well, that was, to me anyway, quite revealing. The energy that I'm picking up from these cards tells me that this will be This premiership is going to be very pivotal, I think. I think it's going to be very important going forward for the future of our country. Why do I say that? I don't say that lightly. I think that as a nation, we've experienced a number of shocks, um, a number of catastrophes, for want of a better term. And within those catastrophes, we've had the opportunity to learn certain things about ourselves, about our country, about how we see ourselves within our nation. Now, the first catastrophe, obviously, that was COVID with Boris. And I think it's fair to say that each prime minister we've had, although actually that's not fair. That's not fair. The first catastrophe was Brexit. Why do I say that was the first catastrophe? We were lied to. We were led down the garden path. The media and powerful people within the government conspired to sell us a story. Powerful politicians like Boris Johnson, they conspired to sell us a story. And instead of the media being very rigorous, there were certain newspapers who instigated and pushed public opinion to view the EU as an enemy. It didn't have to make sense because most people don't sit down and spend time to try and work out what's really happening. So that was like the first catastrophe. And as soon as it was announced, the UK pound plummeted. I think maybe we were at 160 or something like that against the dollar. Or maybe it wasn't that high. Maybe it was 140, but it did go down. It went down quite a bit. And that was within the first 24 hours. So that shocked the market and it put off international investors. This country relies very much on international investors because we do not have a huge industry of manufacturing. Our main industry here is as a service industry. And one of those main service industries is banking. I'm not going to go into it too much because there's so much that I could say. But to cut a long story short, we've had a number of catastrophes. Now, in the last few years, the major catastrophe was under Boris Johnson, and it was COVID. Now, can I blame Boris Johnson for COVID? No. I can blame him, however, for the way he reacted to it. He could have done more and he could have done it quicker. But within that time, there were so many things that happened. I think the government gave £600 billion to British people. £450 billion went to the super rich, the 1%. And they did nothing to get that money back in taxes, which is why we have a cost of living crisis now. Because if the rich have more money, then they keep it, they invest it, they buy more things, and the price of everything goes up. The poor have more money, they put that money back into the economy, and that increases GDP. That's how it works. It's a numbers game. But anyway, so with Boris, we had COVID, and we had hypocrisy, and we had lies. That was the first teachable moment. With Liz Truss, we had lies, we had incompetence, and we had barefaced avarice. With Rishi Sunak, what are we getting with Rishi Sunak? With Rishi Sunak, any Tory who's not rich, who's not making loads of money, is going to begin to recognize these people are not for you and they're not on your side. Why do I say that? The second card is hedonist. Pursues pleasures to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. Rishi Sunak is a multi-millionaire. He is one of, if not the richest politician we have in the House. The man is worth over £700 million. I think, is it 750 or 760? Hey, when you're talking about hundreds of millions, what's 10 between friends? The point is that, yes, between him and his wife, they're worth twice as much as the royal family. Well, twice as much as Prince Charles, anyway. And I think we are going to see scenes. We're going to see things of Rishi going on holiday. I mean, the beauty of him being so rich, there's no donors paying for his holiday, and there'll be no donors paying to decorate his flat. But people will see him partying on yachts when he's, during the time he's allowed to have his holidays, but people will see that at a time when the country and people are struggling, really, really struggling and suffering. I think his hedonism is going to become an issue. And to be fair, you've got money, you want to go out, you want to enjoy yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Trouble is, as an elected official, if your country's going through really hard times, you might not want evidence of that to get out. That could be damaging. Card here, guide. Right, represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. Places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. This card can be read both ways. On one hand, I think that we will be guided to represent the nature of divine in our own lives and in our own selves. Why? Because I think things are going to be really bad. I think things are going to be really bad for a lot of people. I see this winter as one where families will be coming together and taking care of each other in ways that seem to have gone out of fashion in the 21st century. COVID was a great awakening for us in how much we needed each other. So people will be looking within, because there'll be no point in looking at the government. They won't help you. In the words of Tony Blair, a compassionate Tory is someone who looks at you and says, I'm really sorry you're suffering, but I won't help you. That's a compassionate Tory. Now, the shadow attribute places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. This goes to the heart of what it means to be a Tory in this time frame. In this time frame, they are controlled by the oligarchy, the super rich. They don't really act in the interest of the average person. They place financial gain and control because they love power. And let's be honest, if you're a politician, you do want your party to be in power. Who wouldn't want their party to be in power? But tell me something, what happened to democracy? Right. So, imparting spiritual insight, the spiritual understanding that we all need one another. It's not there. Under them, the cards. They will be told to shut, we will be told to shut our mouths and listen. So will they. That is right under teacher. Hedonist. Under hedonist, your body is upset with you. I'd say in this reading, your body is the nation. Guide. I said that we would be guided to represent the divine in ourselves and in our lives, in our community. I also said that the government would be guided to place financial gain and control over spiritual insight. What does this card say? It says this. It says that the ideology that we have, or the ideology that is often espoused by the right, is going to break a lot of Tory people's hearts. A lot of people who vote with the right wingers, their hearts will be broken. But they will be guided to move on and do the unthinkable and vote for a party they've never voted for in their whole lives. So let's see what's happening here. First card up, Two of Swords. Choices. And she looks miserable. You know what this says to me? This says it doesn't matter what choice you make, it's all a miserable choice. Ooh. This is crossed by the Chariot. So there's some quick choices to be made. In all fairness, there are some quick choices to be made. Super quick choices to be made. All is not well in the state of Denmark. I don't know if I said that correctly, but it's a Hamlet reference. Okay. At the base of the reading, the Eight of Cups. This tells me there's walking away. There's walking away. Choices and walking away. Well, someone already walked away and somebody walked into the barn. Their footsteps are leading into the barn. Okay. Right. The Nine of Cups. All right. In this suit, the Nine of Cups is represented by a scholar. In the typical Rider-Waite, this would be the smug merchant. But in this suit, this is represented by the scholar. It's often known as the wish card. I'm seeing this as a person with a lot of learning, a lot of knowledge. Someone who had to study to get those cups. I'm almost seeing those cups as trophies. And he's sitting there very happy with a big smile on his face because of his achievements due to his knowledge. To me, This is Rishi Sunak in the past. He was the Chancellor. He was a banker, so he's an ex-banker. So he's very knowledgeable about the markets. He understands banking and he understands the books have to tally. And he was very happy with his accomplishments. He has grown very rich and he's done very well for himself. And even though he's had to put up with a lot of slings and arrows, another Hamlet reference, he's weathered those storms, which is probably Shakespearean as well. He's weathered storms and he has come out accomplished. He's gotten what he wanted. He wanted to become Prime Minister. He wanted to make history as the first Prime Minister of colour. And good for him. But this is a past position. So he got what he wanted. Crowning the reading, we have justice. 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 Okay. Let's see. We're 5 cards in and we already have 2 major arcana. Let's see what else it holds. Okay, in the immediate future, the Page of Swords. Ooh. Aha. Okay. In the mind, the Knight of Coins. In the environment, the 6 of Coins. In the hopes and fears, the 7 of Swords. And the last card, the outcome, is the Emperor. I had a feeling we'd see another major arcana here. And it's funny how they're all together. Anyway, let me crack on. So, justice. Okay. Let me just do some consultation because, you know, it's good to consult. It won't be a second. Please give me a moment. Right. Okay. Because I want to get this down pat. Justice, justice, justice. I've got all kinds of feelings I'm getting from this card. I'm getting from this card the balancing of the scales. I'm getting from this card a discernment, but that's more of a judgment card, really. Let's have a look. See, justice, justice, justice. I can never remember which one is this again. Oh yes, number 11. Lovely jubbly. Right, number 11 in the major arcana, justice. Yes, the balance, balancing the scales, being judged and a fair outcome. Okay, we'll see here a restoration of balance. I definitely got balance as a theme. Order restored and prudent money management. Strategy. Clear vision. There's something here about integrity, but I'm not sure if it applies. And no, I'm not being horrible. I'm not sure if it applies. Intervention of the law. Intervention of the law. Right. Well, what I'll say is this. With the Eight of Cups, you have someone walking away. But this Eight of Cups is strange because it kind of looks like the cups are upside down. And the person seems to be walking into the room instead of turning around and walking away from the room. I mean, they're walking away from the crowd into the room. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. So, I'm going to go against what the book says, in as much, instead of walking away, I feel that this is more walking in. I'm going to read this card as a reverse because I see someone walking into the dark barn. I see someone choosing to come out of the life and walk into the dark, walk into the chaos. Instead of staying on the back benches, chilling with everyone else, he's decided to decisively walk away from the back benches and walk up to the fore. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. He's decided to walk into the darkness. That's the chaos. And he's able to do that with confidence because he is a man of knowledge and skills. Now, granted, he does have a lot to answer for, the reason why we're in this financial mess in the first place. But things are not where they were in 2020. We are not in the same world. And even though he's an ideologue, an idealist, I think that he's rational enough to work out you need to deal with the situation as it stands, not just how your ideology tells you it is. Let's be in contact with objective reality rather than my wishful thinking. There's wishfulness in here, but he got his wish. I'm also saying that because the Justice card is on top. And this tells me about equilibrium, restoration of balance. Prudent money management. He's going to act like a Thatcherite. He's going to act like an old school Tory. We were in austerity, I think, in 2010. I think, was it 10,000 people died due to the austerity that the Conservative government, once they came in, put on this country. About 10,000 people died, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it's at least 10,000 people died due to austerity. And they were people on the lowest incomes who were in the most need of help from the state. So we're going to get austerity Mark II. But there's going to be some kind of balance. There's going to be some kind of balance. I don't think it's going to be as bad as the austerity that happened in 2010. I'm not 100% sure why, but I think maybe it's because the country's in a different place now and people won't stand for it. People stand for the levels of austerity that we saw before, but everyone's still going to suffer. People will still suffer. Why do I say that? It's going to be bad news. It's going to be bad news. It's going to be bad news. I mean, we know that they're going to be public spending cuts. But for some reason, somehow, it's not going to be at the level that it was in 2010. But it's still going to be bad news. I think that we're going to have a windfall tax. I think that this government is going to bring through some windfall taxes to help pay for the rise in energy bills and go some way towards the cost of living crisis. It's not going to be fantastic. As I said, there's going to be bad news. Public services will suffer. I kind of want to say decimated, but at the same time, this justice card is telling me it's going to be bad, but it's not going to be as bad as we fear. But it is going to be bad. It will be bad. I think that's what it comes down to with the choices. The choices, which was the first card I pulled. The choices. This card is swords, but there's water behind the swords and there's misery on the face. I think choices are going to be made that even they themselves are not comfortable with. It could be to our benefit, it could be to our detriment. I'd say that it's both. And those choices are going to be made quickly. Now, okay, so things we can expect from Rishi Sunak's premiership. As I said, there's going to be bad news. Now, I always get these two mixed up. I believe this is in the mind. In the mind. In the mind. Yes, the self, the mind. This is the Knight of Coins. This is the stable knight. This is the knight that plans. This is the knight that plods. This is not the knight that goes in. This is not a Knight of Wands that goes in where angels fear to tread. This is the knight that is very careful. Very, very careful. That's what this knight is. Yes, slow, steady progress. Common sense. diligence, conservative measures. I'm not making this up. That's what it says in the book. It actually says conservative measures. Okay. Right. Slow and steady progress. Yeah. Okay. Someone lacking in imagination. Hmm. All right. Okay. In regards to money, I have to say, because I've read this card as bad news, I do believe that they're going to try and be as sensible and careful and conservative as they can be. But I read this card as bad news. To be honest, I'm reading that there's good news and there's bad news. I'm reading that the bad is not going to be the country goes into a complete and utter meltdown. So it's not going to be so terrible that we have zero public services. On the other hand, it's not going to be that we come out of this easily. It's going to be painful. I see pain. That's what I see. I see pain. I see emotions because I've got cups. Got two cups here, both at the base of the reading and in the past. But I'm seeing swords. 1, 2, 3, 4 swords. There's 4 swords. So actually, people are still going to be underpaid. There are going to be a number of strikes taking place this winter. There's probably going to be a general strike. I don't think it's going to happen in December, but it may happen in January or February of next year. But there will be a general strike. Stagnation and a lack of imagination. A lack of imagination, because there are other ways to get out of this. But anyway, okay, so we move on to the 6 of coins. This is the environment. Everybody wants something. You give me a little bit, I give you a little bit. You give me a little bit more, I give you a little bit more. I will say this. The good thing about Rishi Sunak being in charge is that immediately as he was announced, the market kind of took a breath. And the market reacted in a way that meant that the price of borrowing went down a little bit. because they know that he's a steady pair of hands and that he can actually, add up and subtract, Um, there will be borrowing. There will be borrowing, but it will be borrowing to invest rather than borrowing to like lower people's taxes and all that malarkey. Um, I see stability. I see financial stability. The markets will stabilize. So I do see some level of financial stability, which, let's be honest, if you're going to cut public services the way that Jeremy Hunt, in my mind, I replace the H with another letter. I'll say nothing else. Um, the way that Jeremy Hunt has done things in the past, he's been very stringent with the public purse. So I do believe he will stay on as Chancellor, and I do believe that their fiscal policy will take us off the brink. However, I'd say due to a lack of unwillingness to try something different, there will be, as I said, a lot of suffering. But at the same time, it will show on the market, but I don't think it's going to show for the average person. I don't see this as showing for the average person. But there'll be loans and debts. You know what? This might also be a foreign nation. I give you something, you give me something. Is this the EU? Is this the EU? You know what? I think it might be. I think it might be. There's going to be some deals done with the EU. I'm not saying that Brexit's going to get rolled back and we're suddenly going to be rejoining the EU again, but there's going to be some big deals going down with the EU. Some big deals are going to go down with the EU. Yeah. This is the EU. I wouldn't go so far as to say that our relations will be completely normalized, but there's going to be some big things happening with the EU. We are going to be making some deals with them because we have to in order to survive. And the government we have in place at the moment are realists, they're pragmatists. Part of the reason I'm saying that as well is we've got Seven of Swords, skullduggery. There are factions within the Tory party who are rabid Brexiters, who are not in touch with objective reality. These people are ideologues and they see everything through the lens of we don't like the EU. So they're going to do some stuff under the table that's going to ease our relations with the EU. They're going to do some stuff under the table. They're going to be, we give you a bit, you give us a bit. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to do it behind closed doors. And they're going to do it in a way that won't tip the majority of the public off. They're going to try and sell it somehow. They're going to sell it. Anyway, let me hurry up and finish this reading. So there's going to be some deals done with the EU, and it's going to be covert. Now, the last card I got here is the Emperor. That's the last card. Large and in charge. The outcome card. Order, control, and power. Now, I do not see the Tory party going nuts. I do not see them suddenly decide. I wouldn't even say suddenly deciding. I do not see a load of how can I put it? I do not see the Tory party having the same issues that they had with Boris Johnson and Liz Truss. People behind the scenes stabbing each other in the back, slitting each other's throats. Someone swings a sword, somebody's heads go flying, nobody knows who swung the sword. It just happened all of a sudden and everybody's losing their minds. That is not what I see. Under Rishi Sunak, I see order, I see control, I see structure. So as much as the Tory party looks like it's tearing itself apart at the moment, and it kind of is, they have had a massive scare. This has scared the crap out of them. They're going to rally behind him to save themselves. And even if there are people in the background saying, I don't think he can win the next election, there's going to be other people in the background looking at them saying, dude, what makes you think we're going to win the next election anyway? We're not going to win the next election. So there's no point in trying to get rid of him because you think he can't win the next election. We're not going to win. And really, we need to be in opposition for a while. So I see that if there is infighting or if there are people trying it, there are other people saying, you need to wake up and smell the coffee and understand it doesn't matter. We're not going to win the next election. All we can do at this point is mitigate the amount of damage we will suffer as a party. So I don't see, from this card, it's telling me that he's gonna have control. There's gonna be structure. He'll have power, but it's not going to be exerted in the same way, the same chaotic way as it was under Truss and Johnson. He's not going to have the rebellions that Theresa May had. The time of those types of rebellions are over. The rebellions that are going to take place in this country will not be within the Tory party. They're going to be within the nation of people because they won't be able to handle. There'll be too much pain. And it will be clear from some of the things that happen that even though the Tories who are coming up now will think that they're doing their best, they lack imagination or the willingness to go against the conservative ideology in doing certain things. So I do see stability. I do see stability, political stability. Okay. Right. What are the final outcome? The energies of the final outcomes. Okay. We have here new beginnings. Here we go. I don't know. Can you see it? Yeah, there we go. New beginnings. We have here final outcomes. Taking risks. Gonna have to take some risks, people. Oh. I don't know if you can see the card. Can you see the card? Yeah. There we go. There we go. Oops, you daisy. There we go. Love. 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 Are we sure we're talking about the Tories? Love? Are we sure? Really? Love? Okay. Love. New beginnings, taking risks for the sake of love. Love of nation. Does that mean we'll actually get some Tory statesmen now coming to the fore? People who were frightened to open their mouths before under such a corrupt government? Or are people going to open their mouths now because they don't care whether they get re-elected? Many of them know they won't get re-elected. So the best thing they can do is show love for the nation instead of self-interest. Them showing love for the nation is a form of self-interest if they want to come out with a good reputation, because people like to move on from these jobs to get jobs in the city, working for businesses, becoming executive members of boards, maybe going into lobbying. But if you have a good reputation for being someone with integrity, you can get a higher price. Let's have a look and see what these mean. Let's have a look and see what these mean. Okay. New beginnings, I would say, are pretty self explanatory. Yep. Okay. Birth and rebirth. Right. Yes. Okay. Yep. So I would say, looking at this reading, there's a pretty good chance, because how many major arcana did we get? We had 1, 2, 3. 3 major arcana. Some of this stuff that's happened, I would definitely say is fated. Rishi Sunak becoming Prime Minister at this time, I would definitely say is fated. Because even during the leadership hustings during the summer, I asked, and it's like, is he going to be Prime Minister? Yes. And I always felt, I didn't care what they said about Liz Truss. I felt that he was going to become Prime Minister regardless. I felt he was going to become Prime Minister regardless. So I wasn't shocked when it turned into that. I wasn't shocked, but I was shocked. The reason I was shocked, as I said, I saw him becoming Prime Minister last year. I wasn't even looking to see if he was going to become Prime Minister last year, and he just popped up, and I didn't expect to see him. So that's where the shock comes from, in a way. But in a way, I'm actually not shocked. I'm actually not shocked, because I always felt that he would be. But this has happened the way it's happened, and it's happened the way it's happened because it was meant to happen this way. The future is not set, but there are nexuses nexuses in time. I don't know if you're a Doctor Who fan or whatever, if you're a Whovian, but it's like there are certain things that are solid, that are almost like they're set in stone in regards to destiny. This Brexit was one of them. Rishi Sunak becoming Prime Minister was another one. Taking risks. Okay, this is a time to take risks. Yes. Okay. Okay. To do things in a new and unorthodox way. I feel like there's a calling. There's a calling for the Tory party to do things in a new and unorthodox way. There's a calling for a new kind of conservatism, one that does not pander to the interests of the super rich. If they can do that, if they can do that, then they will mitigate the losses they have at the next election. And as for love, 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 love. This is the one I'm going to read. Wild Rose. Roses are a universal symbol of love. The rose was associated with Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. It was also thought to represent truth. In Roman times, a rose was hung in meeting places with the understanding that only truth could be spoken under the rose. In many Native American tribes, wild roses are a powerful symbol of life. Some tribes believed that wild roses were protection, so they kept them in their homes. The wild rose, as opposed to the domesticated rose, represents a love that is wild and free and without bounds. It blossoms all summer and is beloved by bees and butterflies. Pollinators. Wild, free, without bounds, attracting pollinators. Love is all around you. Love is coming into your life. You are already more cherished than you can possibly know. In all is healing or is already healed. Right. I do not understand where this fits into this reading. This is talking about self-love and self-care and self-esteem, knowing that you are enough. Okay, well, I'm not sure about all of that self-care and self-esteem and all of that kind of thing. I don't know where that fits in because we're talking about what this prime ministership is going to bring. However, I'm getting more of a call to self-reliance, and I'm also getting more of a call to the pollinators. I think that I think that it's possible. Okay. I think that actually it's possible that they're going to do some unconservative things. People are still going to be suffering. But I think in order for it not to be as bad as it possibly could be under a typical conservative government, they're going to do some unorthodox things. They're going to be taking risks. Yeah, taking risks. And I think with them taking risks, but taking risks in a measured way, it's going to attract more investors and more investment. I think it will also help the deals that they're going to do with the EU. There was some stuff on the table talking about that they wanted to get rid of all these EU regulations, including regulations over airline safety. These people are bonkers. I think what's going to happen is that they're going to make some deals with the EU, and it might look like they're changing some EU regulations. They're not changing them. I don't think they're going to be changing. Not something as important as airline safety and stuff like that. That's just silly. They're going to be doing some covert dealings with the EU that either the public won't know about, or the public won't find out about. They won't understand it. And it's like, oh, really? It's like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. That's how it's going to go down. And in doing those things, it's going to attract more international investment. They will be doing things in a new and not quite so conservative way. There'll still be conservatives, so there will be issues, especially this winter. It's going to be rough, but it's not going to be as awful as many of us fear. In regards to the strikes, if they call the general strike next year in February, I think there's going to be deals. I'm not seeing nationalisation. I'm not seeing nationalisation under this government, but there's going to be deals with the unions. After we come out of Christmas and we go into January, the true horror becomes apparent, and it's going to scare the shit out of them. Pardon my language. The true horror becomes apparent, and it's going to scare the shit out of them. They're going to realize they can't be conservatives in the old-fashioned way anymore. This is going to lead to the new beginnings, the taking of risks, and the deals with the EU, which is where you get the outside investment, the pollinators. The true horror is going to happen in January. That's when people are going to really start to see it. That's when even someone who's been as comfortable all his life, even someone like Rishi Sunak, who's never had to go without a meal in his life, except of course if he was fasting for religious reasons, but he's never had to go without his whole life. Even he's going to see some stuff. The horror of what we're going to go through this winter is going to scare the crap out of them. So when we have the general strike in February, they're just going to be like, you know what? We're going to do something. We'll do something. We'll do something. Because it's going to be that bad and that ugly. Well, people, thank you so much for joining me. Wow. All right. Let me see your comments. All right. Oh, Manifa, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much as well, Melissa, for joining me and giving me your congratulations for that. It means a lot to me. Like, it does. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining me tonight. You know, thank you all for joining me tonight. I actually feel exhausted. Oh, thank you. I actually feel exhausted. I feel drained. Crumbs. Whoa. Oh, well. Wow. Okay. I wish I could do this stuff quicker. Why can't I do this stuff quicker? Oh, thank you very much, Marie. I try. I try whenever I do read, and I do try to really go in and work stuff out, you know. I do try. So thank you. I don't know, man. I feel exhausted now. I'm actually tired. I need a drink. In fact, I think I might need some carbs. All right. Well, look, I don't want to bust through the 1 hour and 30. I wish I could read these cards quicker. Why do I have to talk so much? I don't know. I'm so slow. Anyway, well, peoples, oh, Sky, my girl, Sky. Oh, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, I miss you, Sky. I miss you so much. It's been such a long time. But yes, thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone. You know what, Marie? That's exactly what I plan to do. I'm going to get me some wine. Okay, maybe not wine. I'll have some vermouth and tonic. Oh, gosh. But yeah, I feel exhausted now. I actually feel drained. But so I'm going to come off because I don't want this to go through to 1 hour and 30 minutes. But yeah, I just want to take this moment to say to everyone, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this on catch up, I am super grateful for you choosing to spend time out of your day with me and to hear my reading. And I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed. And yes, I know I don't do readings that often. I don't do them every week. I tend to do them when I get the call to check. If I get the call to check, I will check. I tend to do them when the energy's changed, which is why I didn't do another reading on Rishi Sunak beforehand because I had to wait for the energy to change. And I don't like asking the cards the same things over and over again. I will be doing more readings, however, and I will be doing more stuff. I will be doing more stuff. It's just taking me a little while. But to anyone else here, oh, thank you so much, Sky. To anyone else here who would like a personal reading, one, I'm going to do the whole YouTuber thing where I'm going to say, please like, please share, please subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can email me at show in the ends, the channel name, at gmail.com. If you send me an email saying that you would like a personal reading, that's how you do it. Okay? And let's see, what else should I be doing? I still haven't worked out how to use my Instagram yet, so. But yeah, so there's my email where you can email me. And yes, my PayPal. Actually, if you email me, then I will send you the details for my PayPal. I charge £35 for 30 minutes. If you're a first time client, I will give you 45 minutes for the same price. And if you want a reading with me for a full hour, it will be £75. But you can directly email me at showintheends@gmail.com for your own personal reading. Okay, people, I'm going to say good night now. Thank you for joining me because it is night here in Britain. And I will hope to see you again soon. Ta-ta.